Welcome back to the garden here in Perth. It's the middle of winter and it's been a while, so let's take a look around. Lots of jobs have been happening. I'm doing a lot of pruning, a lot of harvesting, and a lot of updates to my website. So that's what's taking up a lot of my time recently, but join me to see what's growing at the moment. June was one of the wettest months of the year, and after months of dry weather, there's something really special about hearing the rain on the garden again. Between the showers, we've also had pockets of sunshine, and the food forest has been soaking it all in. If you're new here, I'm Holly, and over the last 10 years I've been transforming my suburban lawn into a productive food forest. My goal is to be able to go outside and pick fresh fruit 365 days a year. I also grow my own mulch, fertiliser, and use natural gardening methods that work with nature and not against it. So the kumquats are starting to come through with so many fruits, like the branches are just hanging down. So I'm going to be taking a bunch of these off to make some recipes with as they start to get more and more orange. So the kumquats I always suggest to grow in a pot unless you love preserving, because that is way too much fruit for me to eat fresh. Also they are quite sour, so I don't eat a lot of them fresh, and so I have to preserve these. I have to come up with interesting ways. Every year I get more and more and more because I have it planted in the ground. So yeah, one to keep in mind for sure. Just grow it in a pot. My Sunshine Special passion fruit are just hanging on there waiting for the warmer weather. I have had one ripen. My Pacific plantain bananas are slowly fattening up. So this is my Pinkerton avocado, and as you can see, it is looking so happy and healthy. I think it's about to start pushing new growth or flowers, and it's wild to see how easy it is to grow out here in the backyard where it gets a lot of afternoon shade compared to the front yard where it's still very hot. So it's just always a work in progress. I've been layering the soil here in this back garden for 10 plus years, so there's a lot of good soil, good nutrition in this garden compared to the front, which is still sand. And a lot of people ask me, how are you growing in sand? And it's just a slow process. So over time I've been adding lots and lots of compost, chop and drop mulch, layers and layers on top of the sand, and yes, some of my fruit trees are growing very slow because of that, but I'm totally okay with that. I'm going the natural route. If I wanted the fruit trees to grow quicker, I could blast them with synthetic fertilizers, but that's not something that I want to do. So I've decided to go down the natural route, which just means slow and steady. Also, you can see along here my ground cover has totally switched. This used to be sweet potato and now it's nasturtium, and they're starting to get lots of flowers. And so I didn't do anything. It's just that I have two different edible ground covers underneath this story. So I have the sweet potato and the nasturtium, and the sweet potato grows during summer when it's warmer, and then in winter it dies back, and the nasturtium just pops up everywhere on its own. So I don't have to do anything, and I have got a constant edible ground cover covering the soil, adding mulch, adding nutrition, and adding places for the beneficial insects and flowers for the bees. This one is my elephant tusk mango, and it's about to push some new growth or some flowers. More seed-grown papayas. Gave the yellow passion fruit a tidy up and pruned off some of the dead wood, so it's going to push some new growth soon. My little seed-grown Brazilian cherry, and my grenadier still hanging in there with the cold weather. My worm farms, which I've been making sure I empty out any excess water. This one, they're both empty at the moment because I did it the other day. Because we've had so much rain, I don't want the worms to drown or to get too wet. So it's important to check that, especially with more rain coming. We have food popping up in all the cracks. We have some New Zealand spinach there. Over here we have a kale seedling popping up in the corner. Little lettuces in the grass. That one's actually a poppy, possibly. Some more lettuce popping up down here. And we have lettuce over there too. My weeds are edible. This is my compost volunteer tomato, which is looking better than my summertime tomatoes, honestly. I'm letting it do its thing. It's flowering. It may not really fruit, but you can't pull out something that looks this good. Little seeds popping up all in between, so I do pick some of these beetroot leaves. They can be used just like a spinach, just like a chard, because they are part of the rainbow chard family. So I've been harvesting some of these outer leaves of the beetroot to let some light in, because I have little things like my daikon radish, cabbages, more beetroot, lettuces, all sorts of things popping up here underneath. So just always coming out, picking some of these leaves to let the light in. These are my sweet peas that I grew last year that I am growing up here for some winter colour. My beautiful self-seeded lettuces, so I just come in and pick from underneath here, and they are popping up everywhere. Got more little seeds popping up in here, things getting eaten a little bit. Still some ratty capsicums coming along, and then along there's some beans starting to climb up, chard, cabbages. Got lots of radishes in here. It looks like a flower of some type. Parsley, more lettuce. Don't know what those are. My purple potted peas are starting to climb. These ones are all radishes. Look like the black radishes. And then there's some purple daikon. Look at the beautiful leaves on this purple daikon radish. So I really want to save the seeds of those. So I'm going to make sure I harvest all of these before they go to seed, so that I can just get clean seeds of these. The grapes have gone to sleep. The chilies are still pumping out. Lots of chilies. Some beetroot. Look at this big beetroot in here. Nice big beetroot in there. The parrot has been attacking all my unripe guavas, so this tree has still been pumping out guavas for honestly like 6 months, but it's been taking a beating in the last week. Some crumbs down there. So hopefully he's moved on, because there's still fruit and flowers coming through. So it's crazy how much fruit this yellow guava is producing over such a long period of time. So this is a little bit wild. This space was so lush and green only a few months ago at the end of summer, and now all of the leaves have started to drop. It's looking very sparse and bare. So it's getting hard. It's been a little hard to get used to, but it's doing its job. It's letting the light in for the veggie patch on the other side, as well as some of the little plants. Pomegranate losing its leaves, the Aprem losing its leaves, all the Queensland arrowroot being chopped and dropped. The soursop is looking very sad. The moringa's also dropped a lot of leaves. The plum in the middle, all the leaves are gone off that. The lemonade tree is just about falling over with all of the weight of this fruit. So you can see on here I've got some flowers coming through. We've got some green fruit Some of these I might have to prune off with the gall wasps, but lots of ripe fruit. So these look like lemons, but they're actually lemonades, and you can peel them just like a mandarin. And they segment out really easily. Look at that. So the crazy thing about these is that they are not sour like a lemon. They are sweet, and you can eat them just like you would an orange, but with lemon flavour. They've only got a few seeds. These ones aren't as juicy as usual because they didn't get as much water over summer, but they're still delicious. So I'm going to be trying out a lot of recipes with these. I've been eating them fresh. So my mini driveway patch is looking nice and bare and sparse as well. So a lot of these are deciduous. The nectarine is just about finished dropping all its leaves. I've done a bit of a prune up on some of these, and the only one that's really out here looking lush is the seed grown papaya. So there are lots of New Zealand spinaches popping up. There's a lot of parsleys popping up because I let that go to seed. But yeah, I designed this garden to be a deciduous because in winter it doesn't get a lot of sunlight, so it works out perfectly. But yeah, overall the garden's doing well. It's a little bit slow. It looks quite sparse compared to how it has done in other parts of the year, but I know that that's just part of the design, and that come summer, all of those deciduous fruit trees will have leaves on them. The support species like the pigeon peas and the Queensland arrowroot and all of that will be lush and green again. So it's just a quiet time in the garden, enjoying a slower season, enjoying not having all that stress of the heat on the garden, and just starting to tick through as many jobs as I can with pruning, planting seeds, editing out, harvesting fruit, and doing a lot of work on my website, updating some new blog posts. I'm going to be adding new recipes to there. So there's a lot of garden to plate recipes, things that I have growing in my garden. If you want to know what to make with any of them, then you can go and check that out as well. I'll pop the link in the description.